Hi, my friends and family. Happy Thanksgiving every single day and moment you remember to give thanks. Today, I've got a talk for you called Splitting and Soul Retrieval. You didn't have to treat me like you did, but you did, but you did. And I thank you. Didn't have to love me like you did, but you did, but you did. I thank you all my life. Been shortchanged. I love you, babe. It's a crying shame. Don't know what the flunk else I can do just to give thanks to you. I gotta thank you, babies. I gotta thank you now. I gotta thank you, baby. Thank you now. Splitting and soul retrieval. Happy Thanksgiving every single day and moment you reclaim your birthright to give thanks. Every single day and moment you remember to give thanks to the real creator, you get to keep or take back some of your soul. As gratitude is a quality of living beings. What is splitting? Well, it's a term I learned from studying psychology on YouTube. What is splitting in mental illnesses such as narcissistic personality disorder, borderline, and psychosis? It is when the archons fully convince the insane person that they are all good, and you, for example, are all bad. That's right. It's that moment when they decide that you are the root of all evil, you are a horrible person, and you're all evil. And this is part of course, the cycle of what's called narcissistic abuse, the narcissistic personality disorder abuse, where it's a vicious laundry cycle where they love bomb you, they seem really empathic, they're going to live out your dream with you and facilitate it, and even some cases, in the case of the hero narcissist, they'll give you everything. They would give me motel rooms, they would rent me he rented me his master bedroom, and treat you like that God that they demand that you treat them like. So as long as everyone's going to be treated like a god, it's all good, right? But the problem is the human part, okay? Because the reality is that if a soul incarnated into a flesh suit in this planet, there's a very, very tiny chance that they're going to be some Baba G kind of character who doesn't have the karmic weight where they could actually come and go as they please and be free. So as a natural contrarian, or part of my psychology, or if we were Eskimos, I would say one of the animals on my totem pole is, of course, the coyote. And so I love this camp because I can sometimes hear them have their wild singing, and screaming at the evil moon when it shows its ugly face. So as a natural contrarian with regards to tyrants and the Matrix, several of these fools decided, especially when I began publishing videos exposing the truth about NPD and the fallen angels, how dare I? How dare I make videos about narcissistic personality disorder when I just heard of it 6 months before that? When I'm a person who hasn't fully healed it within my subconscious, and they want to blame it on me. So, sure, I'll admit that, They tried to project that onto me since I was 5 years old, and my IQ was so high my parents wouldn't tell me what it was, and I noticed other little kids copying my artwork. You might find the archontically coerced tendency to split or decide that the person who questioned you is all bad. So this is a huge flag of NPD if you want to know one example, or any kind of mental illness, because this is what people who are mentally ill do, like Adolf Hitler. Like, this whole race or this whole type of person is all evil. Sexism, racism. Again, these are archontic or alien ideas. They didn't come from humans. Humans aren't that fucking pathetic before the evil ETs came here and created the slave farm. In fact, there's people who claim, psychics and people who claim to even have to be reptilians themselves in human bodies have admitted that the ones that, of course, as I've said before, there's a peacemaker in every mafia, and for some reason, there's a good person or a good batch in every kind of race, every ET, every human race. And so the good ones have admitted that the reptilian race, they had misogyny and what Lisa Renee calls sexual misery programming for millions of years before they sent Lucifer to try to mess with our DNA, okay? So it's been going on. It's not... It doesn't stem from humans. That's why I reject it. That's why I'm still working on healing that. That's part of my shadow work. But to fully heal all the sexual misery programming that's thrown at you, especially around this region. So anyway, after 21 years, I still have some works to do. I probably need to travel to do that, so to get different perspectives. You see, so so. What I'm saying here was that, 3 or 4 of my old acquaintances and friends and family members probably think I'm really super evil that I started making those kind of videos, okay? And it's because, to the degree of how much of a narcissist person they are, personality, how much they allow the dark ones to control and manipulate them into being that way. So, if you were anywhere on the scale of NPD, you might find the archontically coerced tendency to split or decide that the person who questioned you is all bad. For example, splitting keeps you stuck in hell. Okay? I've been there. It's psychological hell. It's part of the warfare, okay? It's pathetic. It's what a 3-year-old thinks, it's not real to a spiritually mature person. If you're really a God, all of those of you out there who think you're God, incarnate, okay? Like I say, everyone is a ray of the Christ spirit. But if you think you're the one and only God, then you know what? Like, to the degree that you think you're the one and only, you could be a degree of possession. So, in accepting financial codependency, several narcissists, and even those in the driver's seat of YouTube, decided I'm only psychologically a crazy, overgrown infant. No matter how hard I work, no matter how many videos I make, no matter how many truths I uncover, no matter how much wisdom I share, it's never enough for them because they have to hop through the fiery rings of hell. As long as they obey Loser 4 and the dark side, they have to jump through fiery rings. They don't get to end it. And the part of me in my Mercury retrograde in Capricorn in my natal birth chart that obeys the fallen angels, that's going to make me suffer. That's going to make me bootstrap, until I fully heal it, until I do what Laura calls the higher, transform it and transcend it into what Laura Eisenhower calls the higher octaves of Saturn, which is self-mastery. So just contradict the tyranny of the medical mafia openly and see what happens. You might just have if you have thousands of followers, you might just have your whole thing deleted. If you have just try to start a channel, you might get shadow banned and have to, consider the certain platforms to be storage lockers for a time, for the temporary phase. Okay. Thank you. Anyways, I give thanks to all. So just question and post the truth about God without professional qualifications and see what happens. Just simply contradict someone high on the scale of NPD and watch them turn you into public enemy number 1. withhold narcissistic supply or worse, openly, publicly discuss narcissism. You know, a lot of these people have gone into heavy phases of depression this year because of the millions of people that have become aware of this through the hundreds and thousands of YouTubers that try to make channels talking about it. And of course, Sam is right that most of them don't know what they're talking about, but I tend to follow these. Most of the people I follow have the degrees, or, you know, I think Tim Fletcher is a brilliant example of someone. Now, he probably has a really super high IQ to begin with, but he had seven children, and he kind of went crazy. He was milking cows in a dairy, and then and he was a preacher, but he became a trauma specialist, and I love his work. It's really helped me, and but he went deeper than any psychologist I've ever seen into the details. So he proves that, and he makes a good living healing people psychologically from trauma. So, but he became a specialist out of passion and love, and he needed to make a living. But, you know, he used PowerPoint, and it's just, he's an inspiration to me because of his passion to heal everyone, and just to bring it all out into the clarity. And he takes it into deeper levels of subtlety. Like, because a lot of people don't know that they have post-traumatic stress syndrome, which is what he focuses on, and that's different than it's different. Not PTSD, complex post-traumatic stress syndrome, which is different than war veterans. It's like you were raised by someone who beat you or verbally abused you. It's a subtle, you know, it can be subtle or not so subtle, you know, but he focuses on healing CPTSD, and he goes deeper than anyone I've ever seen, and he just shows that if you have the skills, if you're willing to become an expert, you don't need a fucking degree to make a living and become an expert, but you got to be willing to really do the due diligence, put in your research, and do your presentation, put in, you know, the passion, the hours, the commitment, consistency. So Tim's an inspiration in that way. So, but you know, like I say, if you have a friend or family mentor or member or acquaintance who has the narcissistic personalities, you know what I'm saying. But like, the higher they are on that scale, man, they're gonna just hate you. Like, this one guy, you know, I questioned something he did like 15 years ago, and he still hates me. So openly publicly discuss narcissism and see what happens around these fools. And these psychologically lazy tyrants will quickly decide you are all bad. Psychological splitting is extremely childish. We have a frog chirping in here. It sounds like I hear him in the background. I didn't even know there was frogs here. Psychological splitting is extremely childish and a huge red flag for malignant narcissism. Really, I'm telling you, man, as soon as somebody, you know, and I'm admitting that I've suffered from this personality disorder, and I'll still catch my mind doing that, but I know it's not me. No, but see, because I'm aware of the archonic forces, and again, I'm an anti-psychotic teacher for myself. Okay, now I developed something, and I tend to play the blame game on Andrew Bartzis, who gave me the idea that he could humiliate the evil spirits, you know. But taking that idea into my subconscious, I developed the tendency of telling archons they're idiots, and I call them scumboys and other negative words, which I don't know, it's probably bad for my health. So I consider it an intermediate habit. But again, I'm a person that has the ability to change my. One of the philosophies of Huna is I have the ability. I retain the right to change my mind. So we see this shit. That's the healthy thing, but when splitting is when you decide someone is all bad. All of a sudden, like, they're all evil. It's a pathetic, childish 2-year-old thing. So we see this shit constantly used in political cell actions and debates. So, you know, my opponent is all bad, you know. To see in anger, and especially splitting, a narcissist is an emotional 3-year-old. So it's just a basic, obvious truism or meme, a factoid, whatever you want to call it. It's an obvious point. Yeah, there's good in everything, every situation, even the devil, all the bullshit. Why? Because if the individual walking through hell keeps walking, they get out of it. They learn to transcend it. They learn to never step into that shit again. Okay? However, if we don't learn our lessons, if we just keep doing the same stupid shit over and over again, then what do you expect? I mean, what Einstein or someone said is accurate, It's like, that's insanity by definition. So to see in anger and especially splitting, a narcissist is an emotional 3-year-old. You contradicted me, so you are pure evil. How dare you? How dare you say something I said was wrong? Don't you know I'm so fucking insecure, I won't allow anyone within a 50-foot radius to contradict me? And if they do out of the 50-foot radius, I'll still triangulate them and make them look stupid and gaslight them and make people hate them. Don't you know you're wrong for that? You're pure evil. If one thing I say, if anyone contradicts one little thing I ever say, they're sick. I welcome your input. I welcome contradiction. I welcome learning to be in harmony with nature and learn to get along with all kinds of folks. Splitting shows what would happen if you were dumb enough to try to have a community with narcissists. And that's what destroys a lot of communities. If people go into dogma, or the communities based in dogma, they're secretly racist or secretly sexist, secretly jealous. They secretly hate their roommate, their housemate, their wife, their husband, their kids. They secretly hate their ex-wife, their mom, their dad, their children. They secretly hate them so much, deeply. And so every thought becomes, they're pure evil. And I feel guilty of contributing to the public tendency in hundreds of videos to the possibility that, one of my flaws in this, or one of my bad karma in this life, was if I contributed people to do that about narcissists or people high on the scale of NPD. I want you to remember that originally, or to some tiny degree, there's a part of them that's a human. It might be possessed by the archonic forces and the evil voices, but like somewhere in there, it's like originally that spark of Christ was given a chance to have free will. Now what happened is the devil whispered in their ear and said, "Oh, you have to do as I say," and that's why they're master manipulators, because again, it all goes to show that the energy in the universe, the multiverse, what we focus on can grow. So that Lucifer focused on mind power, mind control, invisible weapons, torture, manipulation, controlling others against their will, and a bunch of bullshit, and that's what grew. And so, but the respectful creator gave us free will. So those of us that focus on harmony, on building, on exercising our sovereignty and peace, harmlessness, respect, discernment, that's what will grow. So every single argument might make the purely evil enemy. Every single argument might make you or me the purely evil enemy, because in their fake ass hierarchy of, or their army of one, usually, you are not allowed. You are not allowed to disagree, ever.